Welcome to another episode of It's All Greek to Me. Today we're talking with Voula McLaughlin. Welcome, Voula.
Thank you.
Voula is the founder of the Reaching for the Stars Children's Foundation. I wanted to take it a little bit different this week and something that's close to home because you often hear about people raising money for charities. You don't often hear about people starting their own foundation and raising money for charities. So welcome again.
Thank you.
I understand that the foundation started because your father came to Canada through one of these foundations.
Right.
So tell us a little bit about that.
Yes, he, when he was little, he lost his father, and it was a poor village, and he needed support, and there was this program. It was actually with the government. I'm not quite sure. I've tried to do research on it. It's kind of difficult to find information, but you take account of what your parents tell you and all of that. So, and it was, they partnered like a sponsor with Children in Need, and it was a man just outside of Ottawa who had begun to support him financially, and they would exchange letters. And yeah, it's pretty crazy how something the kindness of a stranger has just affected a generation or two. And you know, my brother and I, born and raised in Canada, right? It's pretty remarkable.
That is. So is that what made you want to start the foundation? How did all that come about?
Well, the foundation didn't happen until a couple of years ago. It was actually just an event. And before it was an event, it was an idea. And there was a video that I had seen online about the effects of the crisis. Mm-hmm. And it was in 2013. So it was years after the crisis. But the real crisis, the human crisis that was ongoing, was especially with the kids who were abandoned and abused and neglected. And I know a lot of Greek people at first, when I would speak to them about this, they were like, well, Greeks don't do that. They don't. And it wasn't about a Greek issue or crisis. It was about a human one. And there was so much pressure in the country and things were just not looking good. Mm-hmm. And so when I saw this video, what sparked it was this video of just opening my eyes. And then everything really started to come into play as far as the legacy of my father and his sponsor. And I thought, okay, well, I got to do something. Mm-hmm. And so I had met Anastasios Mousas, and we are so polar opposite, him and I, but it worked. And we put on our first event. I'd gone to Greece with my family. We saw the kids at SOS Villages. We saw how the organization is run. Mm-hmm. And I really feel you have to do that. You have to witness, especially if you're supporting charity. Mm-hmm. One of the biggest things for me in this journey was to model the proper way to do this mm-hmm. in the community, in the sense of transparency and going to see for myself mm-hmm. and understanding how things work and where the money's going. Mm-hmm. So it started that way. It was one event. It was just that. And we supported one family in Vadi. And then, as the years went by, there was this traction. Things were moving, and the response was great. Yeah. And so a couple of years ago, I was really forced into a situation of, how do we protect this? How do we know that we have this relationship with donors now, but we're just an event, mm-hmm. right? And I don't work for SOS. Yeah. So the decision was made to establish the foundation so that we had a legal entity. Mm-hmm. And now, we do all the receipting, we do all of the paperwork, we answer to the CRA. It was just the next logical step in the journey. But I never got into this 6 years ago, I'm going to make a foundation. Yeah. In fact, my poor husband, he's like, Voula, when are you going to go back to work? Which I'm working, but anyway. That's another story.
No time for both.
Yeah, right, exactly.
I've actually been to the event twice now. I've been hiking last year and this year, and what's different about it is it's not your classic, we're going to dance Kalamatkiano, we're going to eat, like, what I assumed was going to happen walking into it. I'm like, okay, we're going to go raise some money for some kids that this is amazing, and I want to go, and I'll just go dance a couple rounds and go. Yeah. Nothing like that. It's so different. It is so nice. Like,
what did you like about it?
The entertainment a lot. The food is always amazing, right? And just the vibe. Everyone's just so happy. Like the slideshow, you can see the kids that you're helping. It's very moving. The whole event is very moving.
Yeah, we want to express because we can't have the kids there, right? Mm-hmm. And there's a lot of stuff we can't share online. Yeah. Because we have to protect the kids. But in an event where it's a smaller captive audience, we have the ability to share the videos like you've seen. And every year, my hope is that people feel a real connection with the children. And you see them literally grow. I mean, you've seen pictures from these like little boys who all of a sudden have like.
Especially this year's video, it was very touching.
Was it?
Seeing them from like small, and then they're all like ready to go out into the world. They're ready to be like men, women. Like it's a very touching event.
Well, the journey here was, how do we bring our donors along, because they're busy, right? So you have you came to the event and you work, you have your life, you're people who have their families and they're running around, and we wanted to create a relationship with the donors that they trusted. That, hey, I have a little bit of money to give. I really trust what Reaching for the Stars is doing for these kids, and I feel good about it because when I go to the event, I feel like that's my update.
Well,
and I feel like I'm a part of this, and even though I can't go to Greece and do it. So I think we've done a pretty good job.
An amazing job.
Our focus in the event is always the kids.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not a knock on other events because, they're great and they're awesome and there's a lot of kefi and all of that. Kefi is a Greek word, so if you're not Greek, go look it up. What does that mean, kefi? It would mean like a vibe, like joy. I don't know. Anyway, I digress. So, but it's a different feeling where we want to keep the children center focus. Keep it obviously very positive and great, but we want people to leave saying, I know these kids now. I feel good about it.
It definitely comes across like that, honestly.
Good.
It really, really does. You leave there being like, oh my God, I just did something so good.
Yeah, exactly.
Like
and they do. I can't, so I do the receipting, right? So I get to see, everyone again when I'm doing the receipting, and I look back and I'm like, oh my gosh, there's so many people who've given.
Yeah.
They made the decision to reach into their pockets and give. It gets me emotional because that's a big deal. That's how this works. And then it brings me full circle to the decision my dad's sponsor made. Yeah. He decided at one point, I'm going to help. So I get to see that all the time, which is phenomenal.
Beautiful. Yeah, that's beautiful. And now with the foundation in place and everything going quite well, and your event is going to go on for hopefully many years to come. Do you see yourself taking on any more charities?
I hope so. Yes. We started with the kids in Greece, and we're going to continue with them. So we're going to commit to be with them. But my hope is to grow like locally here in Toronto. I think when you have one foot in Canada, born here, one foot in Greece for your ancestral legacy, you feel this different identity. Like I find that when you're here, you feel very Greek, and then when you're in Greece, you feel kind of more Canadian. But I think there's a responsibility for us to help here. There's a lot of great charities. It's a matter of finding the right one where we can make the right impact. That's my hope. I wish we can do that. I hope we can do that. It all depends on the donors. Do I have the capacity to raise that money, with these donors, and can we sustain it? And that's really the question. Is I don't want there to be this one event where we do like, oh my gosh, we raised X amount of thousands of dollars and then forget about it the next year. I want it to be something that's sustainable, which is what we did with the event for the SOS kids. We went 25,000 and 50,000 and 75, then 100, because we were growing and we didn't put the expectations so high, but we wanted to do it gradually so that we could build on it rather than do, one event where we were celebrating ourselves for raising it. And I can't do that. That turns me off, right? I'm not big on that. So it was really about how do we show a commitment to these kids and sustain this. So if we can do that locally eventually, I would love that. I really would.
So that would be nice. I mean, this is kind of why I wanted to talk to you and kind of get more word out for it, because it's nice to see as Greek people, we're generally kind of angry and people just kind of ready to go to war. And it's nice to see someone taking a different approach to it and being like, I want to help, but I don't want to hurt people. I want to help people and raise money for these kids that need it.
I think we can honor our fighting spirit in a good way. The journey, it's interesting, charity, like, wow, that's so great. It's so positive. It's awesome. I would lie to you if I told you there weren't challenges in it within the community. And I think we got to rip off that Band-Aid sometimes and really address that in general. That's another show.
Yeah. That'll be the angry show.
Yeah, the angry show. No, yeah, but the thing is, where does the battle actually lie? Does it actually lie with another person, or does it lie within yourself, where you have to make the choice to do the right thing? Yeah. And it's not usually the easier thing.
Yeah.
And it was a struggle for me at times where I'm like, oh, I can't believe that person's like this.
Yeah.
But you know, and you got to go through those emotions and feelings, and that Greek spirit is to fight. Yeah. But I want to redirect that fight, because the fight is really about standing up. Mm-hmm. And the Greek spirit, for me at least, is to stand up even when others aren't with you, mm-hmm. is to make the hard decisions. And, you know, whether there's 1,000 people behind you or no one at all, is that when you know it's the right thing to do, mm-hmm. that you do it. That to me is the real fighting spirit. And I want to carry that through as far as modeling that in my community, modeling that at the community at large, not just in the Greek community, for my kids, is that as a person, it starts from within, Greek or not Greek, is do you believe in what you're doing, and are you willing to stand up for it? Or are you doing it for other motivation? Right?
Well, you very clearly do. I think that's all the time we have right now. I want to thank you so much for coming here and
thanks for having me.
I will definitely would like to have you again. And then we'll show some of the event as well.
Of course.
And get people. And there's information coming up now for how you can reach Voula and help sponsor her great events. Thanks for watching.
Thanks.